In Impact's view, what does test before build look like?
So this is where we want to put together a prototype so we could get this in front of users and get them to give us the feedback, give us the understanding. Are we developing good UX? Are we getting the idea right? These risky ideas. And maybe we developed a prototype and the user says, you know what, I just don't see the value in this, or this doesn't work out. And that's great. You didn't do any more additional development. But if you test the idea and you refine it a few times, put it through testing, you get that feedback, that's what you're ultimately trying to understand.
The first thing you like to do as a designer is you want to find the right idea for a problem, right? That's what we did in our feature roundup. Get the right ideas. And then in this quadrant, we're saying now we need to get the idea right. And so you nailed it. Like testing before build is rapid prototyping. At the end of the day, we want to do the least amount of work at the lowest cost to validate an idea with a customer that we're on the right track before we spend shit tons of money to build it out. That's reasonable. And by reducing risk on some of these great ideas before things get serious.
So rapid prototype is going to be more of a low fidelity, which is no colors.
Real low fidelity.
Yeah, really low, almost sketch level, where you're really focused on going from A to Z versus trying to understand, did I pick the nice high fidelity colors? Because what's going to happen is that people are going to focus on the high fidelity aspect of it versus the actual meaning of the prototype and what you're trying to actually test.
You create a rapid prototype in days. In this exercise, with a particular feature that we've identified as high risk, we want to get together with a concept team. We will typically do what's called a design sprint. It's a set of days where we'll take that particular feature idea and do like a mini ideation session with all those folks in the room. And we sketch out ideas. And then from those ideas, we pick the best idea. And then we develop the rapid prototype. And then we test that prototype with customers. And that gives us the validation that we were looking for. And then we can go and implement it from there. So all the things that go in this test before build are going to be candidates for that rapid prototyping. So then we go back to our list and we see they don't have a lot of value and they have next to no risk votes. And you might classify those as table stakes. And so we would stick some of those in that column. They're not super high priorities, but we do want to get to them over time. We do that triage, and then the team comes back in the room, and then we talk. Some things might move from test before build, some might move from the right to the left, some might move to table stakes. This is where the product owner or the decider comes into the room and says, yeah, I agree, I don't agree, and then we do some horse trading. And that's fine, that's what you want to do. But what that helps us do is focus and helps set up the ingredients for a strategic roadmap. Day 4 is where we put all the pieces together. And so what I'm showing you on the screen here is essentially a strategic roadmap that we can use to take the features that we identified in the quadrant map and start building out a roadmap that's really divided into several key layers. First of all, we take those business objectives, customer objectives, and success measurements. How do we know if we're succeeding from our problem statement? We stick it on the strategic roadmap, and then we look at we break down the map into 3 columns. So at this stage of the game, we like to keep things kind of in a Kanban kind of framework, which is where we have things that we're doing now, things that we're doing next, and things that we're doing later. That takes the heat off of a time, a specific time base that can choke this process. Then from there, we basically add 2 key swim lanes. One is discovery or validation, and then the other swim lane is implementation or delivery. Then we'll have conversations about what do we do now, what do we do next, what do we do later. That's where your level of effort is going to come into play. Some of the features are going to be big things. Some of them are going to be smaller things. This is when grain size matters. Often this is just a conversation that we'll have as we map this out, where the decider in the room says, yeah, let's do these 4 things, in the next 6 months. Let's do these other things, after that, so on and so forth. They haven't really gone through the process of defining their product or their service. And now that they've done it and they really are able to look at it tactically because they've, see now we've defined all of the moving parts that would go into this, this innovation. And that really takes us to the conclusion of our, what we call an immersion sprint. 3 to 4
That's it.
days, 4 sessions, time well spent.